Libra, welcome back to Born Without Boundaries. For those of you who are just arriving, this is Born Without Boundaries. My name is Michelle and this is my channel. I'm doing the Oracle card reading week ahead for Libra from September 8th through the 16th, maybe a couple days before, maybe a couple days after. You expand it and broaden it what works for you, but this is about a week-long energy. Okay, so in this week, Libra, we have a full moon in Pisces coming up. It's a very grounded full moon. For a full moon in Pisces, it's very grounded because there's a lot of Virgo energy pulling it down and rooting it on the other side. This is actually a really great time to realistically look at all of your dreams and all of your goals, as well as all the situations in your life, and be able to have an optimistic, realistic perspective on them. Like really gain insight into them realistically, but with optimism, with acceptance, with gratitude, with a way, like an open-mindedness that will help you see forward, instead of thinking like let me fall back, something like something to that extent. It's a really good mix of energies, this full moon. Now, this is a general reading, and there's a link below in the description box for the extended reading on Vimeo. Now, over there, what I do is I take this general reading, which will be a whole message in and of itself, but I take this message and I go deeper into it, clarifying it or expanding upon it with tarot over on Vimeo. I also do a romance-specific reading within that same reading. So it's one video for both those readings. If you're interested after this reading, please do click the link below. All right, guys, let's see what's going on with the zodiac sign of Libra general energies for September, the second full week of September, September 8th through the 16th. All right. Libra. September 8th through the 16th, Libra. September 8th through the 16th, 2019. Libra, it almost feels like you're hearing underwater this week, and like you're having to pop your ears, because that could be an indication that you're under a lot of pressure this week, right? Or it could be an indication that it's going to be hard to hear something this week. As in, there's going to be something that you actually would rather not confront. Starfish spirit, but it came out kind of reversed. Open to infinite possibility. So it's not that you're not a star. It's that this week there's a lot of different things that are the downside of having a lot of attention on you. It could just be more responsibility. It could be the feeling of a heavier weight. It could be more criticism. And I feel like in a lot of ways it is more criticism. And the truth is, Libras, you absolutely always have great ideas, and you are like natural progress makers. You're a cardinal sign, but at the same time, Sometimes the details are irritating to you, but this isn't about details. This is about the shadow side of a star. This is about that every light casts a shadow, and you've been standing in a spotlight. It doesn't have to be a literal spotlight. You don't have to be an entertainer. But I'm talking about a raise, a promotion, a new business. And this is not an indication that it's going badly. It's an indication that it's just, there are things this week that are the downside to doing well. Because you are doing well. And that's probably what I'm going to name this video. The downside to doing well. It could be just that, you're so busy and you have so much work coming in that you're not, now you realize, holy shit, I'm working 12 to 16 hour days. I don't see my family enough anymore. I miss them. I don't get to relax or spend time with my friends. Everything is going really well. There's not an indication, Libra, that anything is going badly. What's happening is you're starting to get homesick. Homesick could have been that place inside of you that you felt comfortable with. And you feel really good about all this positive momentum. It's great. But it's like now this week, what's becoming very clear is the sacrifices that you've had to make. And it's just becoming abundantly clear to you this week. And it's like, it's almost like, I don't know that it's discouraging you, Libra, but it is exhausting you. Yeah. The upside to it is, it's the downside to doing well. Because you're doing well, that's why this is happening. And you're going to continue to do well. Slow and steady wins the race. Be nice to yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Like, this is maybe, just maybe, you need to get your foot off the gas pedal. Not to slow down, but because the car's like coasting now. It doesn't need as much gas. You're still putting your full throttle energy into something that's like Newton's law of physics. An object in motion remains in motion unless affected by another object, right? There's no friction to slow you down. There's nothing to collide with you. Your trajectory is on point, Libra. You don't need to keep the fucking gas on. All you're doing is draining your gas. You're not pushing yourself further. And maybe because you're going so fast right now, you're not seeing how fast you're going. You're like, should I slow down? Oh, should I slow down? I don't want to slow down. I gotta do something. I gotta do something to keep myself in the game, to keep the energy up, to keep the momentum up. You don't. Listen, you should know me by now. I don't tell people to coast at all. I am that person who was doing fucking zodiac sign interviews the weekend after I got back from surgery on my spine. So I am the biggest culprit when it comes to putting too much energy somewhere where you don't need to, because things are going well. This week is calling you to understand this is the downside of doing well. You feel like you're now pressured to keep pushing because you're scared of what you're going to lose if you don't keep that momentum going. But guys, the wonderful thing about being successful is it does get easier. And you're supposed to allow yourself to enjoy that aspect of it, or why do it? Why are you working for what you're working? Okay, the answer comes back to me because you really love what you do. Okay, so don't look at the downside of the stress that comes along with it. And also don't look at the downside of maybe when that stress isn't there. It's not necessarily an indicator that anything's wrong. In fact, what it looks like is it's not an indicator of what's wrong at all. Watch and wait. You have slow and steady wins the race and watch and wait. You have two cards that are saying, slow your frickin' roll, Libra. Things are better than they seem, because they're followed up by this card. Now is a lucky time. You're moving forward very well. You're doing extremely well. Everything is working in your favor, and there's more luck to come this week. What's the issue is that you don't trust it. You don't trust it. You're so learned from the past. You're so intent of not going back to where you were, not making the same mistakes, not going back to the way that you had to live or what you needed. Like, you're so intent to not go back there. You're literally turning on the gas pedal, like literally revving the engine when you're already going max speed. Or, you know, like that end scene in Greece where they're flying through the air? It's like turning the wheels. You've catapulted yourself into the cosmos. Spinning those wheels is only going to wear your energy down. It's not going to speed you up. This is a time for you to relax and enjoy what you've accomplished. And it's not in a, oh, I'm watching to see if they slack off kind of way, because you're not going to slack off. You're not slacking off. You just don't have to push the pedal harder, and you're a little bit scared. You think the downside of being the downside of being successful is the fear of losing the success. And whenever fear creeps in, there's that potential for really fucking up. And that, Libra, is the warning this week, is the clutter, the clear out the clutter. It's cluttering you. You're emotionally cluttered, maybe mentally cluttered this week. You're letting fear creep in, and that's what's actually going to take you down. If you just let yourself enjoy what you've earned, nobody's going to take you down. But what you have to do is take out all of the extras. You have to look at what you've earned and say, what do I need to not be doing? You know, this is a good time for not downsizing, but trimming off the superfluous, letting it go. If you see the shadow side is not a bad side. It's just, you know, every light has its shadow. So it's for you to say, okay, what can go, what needs to stay? Maybe that's the extra work you could do for yourself. Watch your words. That's an interesting statement. I want to think about this card for a second. Libra, watch your words this week. This is what I got. Do not overpromise yourself, because you're going to want to make everybody happy, and you're going to feel like your success is directly linked to making everybody happy. And you're going to want to make sure that you don't overpromise yourself, or promise things that you can't come through with, or promise things that you don't even need to do. Like, don't overpromise yourself this week, because that could lead to people being disappointed in you. But they wouldn't have been disappointed if you didn't overpromise yourself. You know, you could also be being told with don't get cocky. You know, don't say things that are really arrogant. You know, always say the truth. Always. If you have the truth, say it. Speak the truth. But make sure that you're not confusing your ego and your interpretation of circumstances for the truth. So be very, very careful with how you use words this week, because, and I said this in the Weekend Romance Weekend Extended over on Vimeo. I said this, Libra. I said, this is a spell casting week. There's a portal open. I don't have the astrology behind it, but I feel it energetically. It's almost like the cosmos is primed to listen to you now. They're listening. And this is a spell casting week. So do not go into, like, you're successful. Do not go into this week saying, I can only be over promising, because that's going to set the criteria of your success for you to have to constantly spin your wheels and exhaust yourself and work too hard. part of success is being able to like make your own schedule and take a golf day when you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to say that you love golf, but I remember my boss, he was a great man who I used to work for in Manhattan. And oh my God, for 35 plus years, this man had been pounding. Like he was at the office at 7 and didn't leave till 7 at night for 35 fucking years. That's a lot. He raised his kids, put them all through college, he's a millionaire. He's done very well for himself. Now is the time. So when I started work, just after, like a couple months into, maybe after my first year of working there, he started taking every Friday off. Why? Because why the fuck not? That's why you work hard. So that finally at one point you can say, this is mine to enjoy. I can let the money work for me. I can let the momentum work for me now. Like I said, an object in motion stays in motion. You are a shooting star. You are a star. You are a star. You are in motion. You are burning bright. You will not last forever because nobody lasts forever, but you're here to stay, at least for now. Can you please slow your roll this week, Libra, and enjoy yourself? Because what you want to project out to the universe is gratitude. Say thank you for all the abundance. Thank you for the extra time I have. Thank you for the money that's constantly flowing in, that I, you know, that's coming in without me having to work that hard for it. Like thank you. Yes, you keep an eye on things. Yes, your eye is now on maintenance, but it's not on that push. The initial push, when you start an engine, when you push a stone, the startup is always the hardest and takes the biggest energy spend. You do not have to keep putting that much energy in. In fact, part of your business plan, or whatever this plan is, part of that plan should always be, what's my normal output gonna be? What's my normal output versus my normal expectation? And if I'm seeing that my expectations are not met, well then yes, where do I have to put the energy in? But do it intelligently. Don't do it just like push, 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 push. The downside of success is the fear that creeps in and clutters your vision to make you feel obligated, feel like you're always gonna lose something. This week, it's going to be a real challenge for you to not feel that way and not overpromise yourself, thinking that that's the only way that you can keep this momentum up, Libra. All the cards point to, you're going to do very well. You are doing very well. Please recognize that and say express a gratitude for that. Slow and steady wins the race. You need to not slow your roll. I'm not even saying take your foot off the gas pedal. I'm saying don't accelerate. You don't have to. You're just going to be wasting gas, right? Watch and wait. This is a great time for you, Libra, to look at the situation that you're in, that you really want it to work out, right? Look at the situation you're in and take stock of what's worked, what hasn't. You know, what's shining, what's in the shadow. What do I need to fix? This is a great week to take stock, to take inventory, to take that extra time that you've earned for yourself and really apply it to, how do I make myself more efficient? How do I make myself more effective? How do I make myself more successful? Right? But don't spin your wheels. Do it logically and intelligently. Learn from the past. There's this warning again of either the past being that burden that you can't put down, and that's why the fear is creeping in. Or also, if you have a little extra money in your pocket, you don't need to burn it. That's like, make good choices. Make good choices. And I think maybe that's the conflict, isn't it? It's that I have made bad choices in the past. How do I know that I'm not going to make bad choices now? It's almost like that conflict with yourself, Libra, this week, isn't it? That how do I know? How do I know? How do I know? How do I know? Well, you know what you know in the past, right? You know what you learned. Those lessons are all part of you. And you have control over them. So you can take what you remember and you can see what brought you down in the past. And you can like literally write out a plan of how to not step into those traps again. Do like really work through it. Like give yourself credit this week. Don't judge yourself. You know, make good judgments based on not judging yourself. And instead, be gentle with you and say, okay, yes, I may have made mistakes in the past, but that's not all of who I am. Clearly, I'm valuable. So let's start with gratitude for that. And then see what your biggest fears are. Like be realistic with them and be tender with them, but confront them face on. And then say by the end of the week, be like, okay, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of these things. And this is why I'm afraid. Is there anything I can actually do progressively that will help quell these fears? Because I can see, like you almost using that fear as a gauge of what do I really need to focus on? Because if I really take care of these problems, the fear drops. So there might be a little indicator of that fear actually being a red flag that you need to address, which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing. Watch your words though. And that could be part of the red flag is don't overpromise yourself. Don't. You are here to tell the truth, but you don't need to tell the truth if somebody didn't ask. You don't need to. Don't think that the only reason why you're valuable is because is to be used or to make other people happy. It's good to want to make other people happy, but don't promise them something you don't have the energy and time for. Don't overwork yourself. Enjoy what you've earned. There's a lot of it. This is a week to focus on inventory of what's working, what's not, but also allow yourself that time. Like, don't feel guilty if you've earned yourself some downtime. Take it. You may want to take it to be more productive, but just don't take it to give it away and to put more work out there for somebody else, in terms of somebody else, and you're not even going to get that much out of it, right? If you have some extra time this week, like take that downtime and say, what's working, what's not? How can we make this smarter? How can we do this in a more effective way? That's a great way to reinvest your time, but don't spin those wheels. Don't spin those wheels, and don't think that because things may have slowed down this week or because the workload has lightened, that all of a sudden bad things are happening, because they're not. Your momentum keeps on going. It keeps on going, and it's a good thing. So keep that understand that you created the momentum. That was your contribution. It's not going to just disappear. It's what you created, and now it's real. Now it's real. If you want the extended version of this reading, where I clarify with tarot, hop on over to VIMEO. If you want the romance reading, hop on over to VIMEO. It's one video, and it addresses both. Either I'll see you there or I'll see you next week. Bye, Libra.